From Public Radio International, this is The World. A co-production of the BBC World Service, PRI, and WGBH Boston. It's Monday, May 3rd. I'm Marco Werman. Delegates from the U.S., Britain, and France walk out of a big UN conference after Iran's president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, criticizes countries that possess nuclear weapons. Also, the oil gusher that threatens the Gulf Coast calls into question the future of offshore drilling, and not only in American waters.
If we can drill less everywhere, and that means reducing our consumption of oil, then we will have approached the nub of the problem and have begun to resolve it.
Now this news.
BBC News with Michael Poles. A day after President Obama said the British oil company BP must meet the cost of cleaning up the huge oil leak threatening America's Gulf Coast, BP's chief executive has insisted his company is not to blame. Tony Hayward told the BBC that BP would pay for the clean-up operation, as it must under American law. But he said the accident that caused the leak had occurred on a rig operated by an offshore drilling contractor, Transocean, and it was their equipment that had failed.
It was not our equipment, it was not our people, our systems or our processes. This was Transocean's rig, their systems, their people, their equipment. We are taking our responsibility to deal with it very, very seriously.
In response, Transocean said it was too early to draw any conclusions about what had happened. Officials say at least 16 people have been killed in the southern United States after severe thunderstorms caused flash floods. At least 8 people died in Tennessee, 5 in Mississippi, and 3 in Kentucky. Downtown Nashville was evacuated after more than 33 centimetres of rain fell in 2 days. Delegates from the United States, Britain, France and Germany walked out of a big United Nations conference after the Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad criticised countries which possess nuclear weapons. The conference in New York is aimed at strengthening the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Here's our North America editor Mark Mardell.
President Ahmadinejad likes to tweak the tail of his reluctant host, the United States. Just turning up to the start of this month-long United Nations conference on nuclear non-proliferation is seen by some as a provocation when the West believes his country is trying to make a nuclear weapon. In a speech studded with pious religious references, he gave a stern lecture on the evils of such weapons. The British, French and German delegations walked out during the speech. While there's a very large element of theatre in all this, there's also very serious talking going on in the back rooms. The United States and Britain want tough sanctions soon, but countries like Brazil and Turkey, which are on the Security Council at the moment, will take some persuading.
United States officials say they've made substantial progress in their search for a man who left a car bomb in a busy tourist area of New York. The device failed to explode. From New York, Madeline Morris reports.
The U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder says New York police and the FBI are following a number of good leads into who was behind Saturday's failed bombing. Their main focus is looking for a white male in his 40s who was caught on surveillance video behaving suspiciously, although he's not considered a suspect, police say. Investigators have also spoken to the owner of the 4x4 vehicle that was found abandoned and packed with explosives in Times Square. Officials have been careful not to link the attempted bombing to any particular group and have cautioned against making assumptions about who could have been behind it.
World News from the BBC. The only gunman to survive the attacks on the Indian city of Mumbai in November 2008 has been found guilty of murder and waging war on India. Ajmal Amir Kasab, a Pakistani national, was convicted on almost all of the 86 charges. The trial judge said it was not a simple act of murder, it was war. During the attacks, 10 gunmen killed more than 160 people. 2 of the biggest airlines in the United States, United and Continental, have confirmed they intend to merge to create the world's largest carrier. The combined airline would have annual revenues of about $29 billion. The deal will have to be approved by regulators in the United States. The German cabinet has approved the country's contribution to the European Union's financial assistance to Greece. Germany would pay the largest share of the EU's $145 billion rescue package. The decision, which still needs the support of the German Parliament, was announced